Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into a really unsettling case. It's one of those that sticks with you because, well, there are just so many conflicting stories and unanswered questions. We're talking about the disappearance of Donna K. Cloud back in 2016.
Yeah, a very perplexing case.
Exactly. And this isn't going to be just, a simple retelling. We're trying to untangle this really dense web of narratives. There are contradictory accounts everywhere. We've used an in-depth analysis from a YouTube channel as our main source here, and our goal is really to pull out the key points, try to understand why this case is legally just stuck, because a lot of people feel it shouldn't be.
Absolutely, and it's such a stark example of how critical thinking is essential when you're faced with multiple, often contradictory pieces of information. This case really forces you to question everything you hear, even from seemingly reliable sources.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Who was Donna K. Cloud? In 2016, she was 19 years old. She had a young son, Ryan, who was 4 at the time. She'd recently moved in with her biological father, Daryl Beatty, and her stepmom, Linda Hornback. Now, this was a relatively new thing.
Right, she hadn't spent much of her childhood with him, mostly with her grandparents.
Yeah, and reports suggest that relationship with her father was pretty strained. The main reason she apparently moved in was because she really wanted to spend more time with her son, Ryan. So flash forward to the evening of October 25th, 2016. This is the night everything supposedly changed. According to the family, her dad and stepmom Donna K. told them she was going out.
A blind date.
A blind date, yeah, with a guy she supposedly met online. And they were going to a Texas Roadhouse restaurant. That was the plan, she told them. But right from the start, there's this really concerning detail. Linda Hornback, the stepmom, claims Donna K. asked her something specific before leaving. She supposedly asked Linda to call the police if she wasn't home by 2 a.m. And she also apparently said she'd turned on her phone's location tracker.
Wow. Okay, so that immediately sounds like she was worried.
It does. And yet, the parents said she then got into an unknown car with an unknown man, and that was the last time they saw her in person.
It's quite striking, though, isn't it? Despite that really alarming request, call the police if I'm back, communication apparently kept going for a while. It almost seems like it could have, lulled them into a false sense of security.
How so?
Well, Donna K. reportedly kept texting her grandparents, saying things like she might bring the guy over. And there's one report that says she texted her father, Daryl, something along the lines of, "I'll see you in the morning, the date went great, he's super nice, I'll call if I need anything."
Okay.
And Daryl even claimed he got another text the next morning, October 26th, saying she was off to the mall.
And
then nothing. Communication just went completely dark after that.
So right away, that initial story blind date, Texas Roadhouse, it seemed straightforward, but it started to fall apart almost immediately when investigators tried to check the facts.
Right. The first obvious check, CCTV.
Exactly. If she was at the Texas Roadhouse, there should be footage. But investigators checked, and nothing. No confirmation she was ever there that night.
Okay, so that part's out.
That part's out. So if she wasn't there, and maybe this blind date wasn't even real, what's the next step? Social media, right?
That's the logical place to look for clues, definitely. But this is where the family's actions became a significant issue for the investigation.
What happened?
Well, the police wanted to check her accounts, obviously, but Daryl Beatty, her father, had apparently already been very active on her Facebook page. He was posting.
Posting as himself, or?
He claimed he wasn't trying to pose as her, just wanted to keep the case in the public eye. But comments on her page showed friends were confused, saying they'd been unfriended by her account.
Unfriended?
Yeah, it seems like hundreds, maybe even thousands of friends were deleted from her account after she disappeared. Think about what that does to an investigation. You lose potential contacts, maybe crucial direct messages, witnesses. It's a huge problem.
Wow. So accessing her account, even with good intentions, could have seriously hurt the investigation.
It absolutely could have. Unauthorized access like that can just muddy the waters, delete evidence. It's a real issue.
And even the detail of how she met this supposed blind date is fuzzy. Some reports say Facebook, through mutual friends. Others say a dating app.
But the crucial point is the police found zero actual evidence that this blind date even existed.
Okay, so the Texas Roadhouse story is debunked. The blind date is unconfirmed. Maybe never happened. What about her phone? You mentioned the tracker. Could they trace it?
Well, this is another massive point of contradiction. It's really confusing. Initially, there was an article, ABC 13, I think.
Yeah.
It reported the family claimed Donna K. had no phone to trace and no credit or debit cards either. That same report also mentioned she supposedly hung around with an unsavory crowd.
Okay, no phone, no cards. But wait, Did you just say she supposedly turned on her location tracker?
Exactly. And the family's own website, donnakcloud.com, directly contradicted that ABC 13 article. They put up a statement saying the article lied about the cell phone.
So the family's website says she did have her phone.
Yes. According to their site, she did have the tracker on, and they claimed records showed over 30, quick stops on the night she went missing, with the very last ping being in Spring, Texas.
30 stops? That sounds frantic.
It does, but again, it's a completely different story from she had no phone.
And what about her wallet?
The wallet. That's another shifting detail. Initially, it was reported as maybe the only thing she took with her.
Right.
But then about a week after she vanished, the family claimed they just stumbled upon it in Daryl's car. Daryl apparently assumed it must have just fallen out when she was riding with him at some point.
Stumbled upon it. A week later.
Yeah. And then you look at the NAM-US profile, that's the National Database for Missing Persons. It describes something she carried as a hard case that Donna K. referred to as a wallet.
A hard case. Like a phone case.
That's how many people interpreted it. A phone case she used as a wallet. But if it was a phone case, why was it found separate from the phone? Especially if the family was also saying she had her phone and the tracker was on.
Right. That doesn't make sense. If you have your phone, the case is usually with the phone.
Exactly. These little inconsistencies, they just pile up. Each one might seem small, but together, it creates a lot of doubt about the core narrative.
So as things got murkier, did suspicion fall on anyone specific? Did Daryl point fingers?
He did. He mentioned Donna K's ex-boyfriend. Police did question him.
Okay.
He apparently passed a polygraph test. Now, we know those aren't always admissible in court, but investigators use them.
Right, as an investigative tool.
And despite some history there, reports of alleged cruelty towards Donna K., the police didn't seem to pursue him further after the polygraph. Daryl also talked about someone online, someone making threats.
Threats? What kind? He initially got the name wrong, but it turned out to be a guy named Kyle Ferguson. Ferguson apparently left Donna K. a voicemail.
Oh.
That was pretty nasty. Disparaging comments, and he actually said he was going to get a female friend to smash her.
Wow. That sounds serious. Did the police look into that?
According to the family, the police didn't take it that seriously, apparently because Donna K. was legally an adult.
That seems insufficient if there's a direct threat.
It does. And all this is happening against the backdrop of that strained relationship we mentioned between Donna K. and Daryl. They argued a lot.
Which Daryl admitted.
He did. He admitted they had a fight on the very day she disappeared. But he described it as being overblown.
Overblown. That word choice is interesting. It confirms a fight happened, but minimizes it.
Exactly. And this fight, this difficult relationship, it really becomes central as alternative versions of events start to emerge. Versions that move away from that whole blind date story.
Yeah, the focus starts shifting inwards towards the family dynamic rather than just an external stranger.
And this is where a private investigator comes into the picture. A guy named Shane Stewart. He volunteered to help, apparently for free.
Okay, trying to help out.
Yeah, but his involvement was really short-lived. According to Daryl, after just a few weeks, Stewart just quit. Dropped off the info he had at the sheriff's office and stopped communicating. Then things got kind of public and messy. Stewart sent some kind of text message, we don't know the exact content, but it prompted Daryl to post something really harsh on Facebook.
What did he say?
He called Donna K. a spoiled brat for supposedly cutting the family off. A lot of people watching the case found that comment just bizarrely cruel.
Yeah.
For a father whose daughter is missing.
Yeah, that's not a typical reaction you'd expect. Optics are certainly strange there.
And around the same time, maybe shortly after she went missing, the family started a GoFundMe page, which, combined with that Facebook post, made some people question their motives.
It's always a delicate situation. Obviously, searching for someone costs money and families are under immense stress. But yeah, the timing and the public statements can definitely raise eyebrows and questions about financial aspects, fairly or unfairly.
Stewart eventually explained why he left. He did a Facebook post, talked to crackron.com. He claimed the family withheld important information from him.
Withheld information? Like what?
He didn't specify exactly what, but he pointed out, crucially, that Donna K. was an adult. She had fought with her father. And he alleged that Daryl had told her to leave and not contact him again.
Wow. Okay. That's a direct contradiction to the overblown comment.
Big time. Stewart also said he didn't even know about the GoFundMe. And importantly, he admitted he never actually saw Donna K. safe himself. He just assumed she was okay based on tips he thought were credible.
So he made an assumption that she was safe and just left?
Basically. He found the whole situation so messy, he called it so ridiculous, that he decided he didn't want to work on missing adult cases anymore.
Okay, so Stewart's credibility takes a hit there for making assumptions, but he does corroborate the fight.
Exactly. He's an outside party confirming that a significant fight happened between Donna Kay and Daryl, the one Daryl tried to downplay. This really strengthens the possibility that she might have left because of that conflict.
It shifts the narrative significantly away from the initial blind date story.
And the story gets even more tangled. Other people get involved, mainly through Facebook groups, trying to help find her, like Team Donna Kay and Lost in Texas. These were reportedly run by other family members or maybe close friends.
Okay, so more voices joining the fray.
Yes. And Team Donna Kay shared something really significant. They posted what they claimed was a note written by Donna Kay on her phone at 4 a.m. the night she left.
A note on her phone? How did they get that if the phone was missing?
That part's unclear. Maybe it was synced to a cloud account, iCloud or something. We don't know the recovery method. But the content of the note, it's eye-opening.
What did it say?
It painted a picture of someone really unhappy. Donna Kay apparently wrote that she felt her father wasn't putting effort into their relationship, that he was mean to her and even kept her away from her son, Ryan.
Kept her from her son. That contradicts the idea she moved in to be closer to him.
It does. She wrote she was fed up pretending things were okay. She talked about struggling with her mental health, feeling unsupported. But she also repeatedly stressed how devoted she was to her son.
Devoted to Ryan?
Absolutely. Wanting to be the best mom, saying she didn't party, she was usually home. This is the first time she'd stayed out long. She mentioned moving in with her dad was specifically to see Ryan more. She acknowledged having him young at 15, maybe some past shortcomings. But she also alluded to past trauma and said she was being subjected to things she didn't want her son exposed to.
Wow. That note, it completely changes the perspective, doesn't it? It gives her a powerful motive to want to leave that environment. But at the same time, that intense focus on her son makes it seem really unlikely she'd just abandon him, even if she was desperate to get away from her father.
It's a huge contradiction. The note suggests she might choose to leave, but her love for her son suggests she wouldn't just vanish without him.
It deepens the mystery, really. Did she leave and intend to come back for Ryan? Or did something happen after she left?
And then there's the other Facebook group, Lost in Texas. They added even more serious allegations in a post from 2018.
More allegations?
Yeah. They claimed that the fight between Donna Kay and Daryl the night she left was specifically about money. Yeah. That she supposedly needed to come up with $400 for him, related to keeping their home.
$400?
That's what they alleged. They also claimed Daryl would use access to the baby, Ryan, as leverage, restricting her time with him, which would lead to Donna Kay crying frequently.
Okay, so this paints a picture of financial pressure and emotional manipulation.
Exactly. And this group, Lost in Texas, also claimed that Donna Kay, feeling desperate for that $400, considered dealing drugs to get the money. That's the allegation. And this supposedly led her to connect with a man named Carter Mayer. He was apparently about twice her age, had a pretty extensive legal record. Now, remember earlier reports said Donna Kay told a friend she was put off by this Carter Mayer. But this group claims she told her grandfather she met a great guy named Carter and was going to watch movies with him. Completely different vibe.
So, conflicting accounts about her feelings towards him, too. But did the police talk to Carter Mayer?
They did, and this is critical. Carter Mayer admitted to detectives that he and his roommate, a guy named Aubrey Schultz, were with Donna Kay on the night she disappeared.
He admitted it, so they were with her.
Yes. But Mayer insisted that he dropped her back off at her father's place later that same night.
He dropped her off, but she was never seen again after that point. And Daryl's last text was supposedly the next morning.
Exactly. The timeline doesn't quite fit. And here's a major point of contention for Daryl and those Facebook groups. Carter Mayer declined to take a polygraph test.
He declined the polygraph.
Yes. And according to Daryl and the groups, the police didn't seem to push Mayer or Schultz much further after that.
Which seems odd. If he was one of the last known people to see her alive, admitted being with her, and then refused a polygraph, you'd think that would warrant more investigation.
You would think so. It feels like a potentially huge missed lead, or at least an avenue not fully explored.
So we're left with this overwhelming mess.
Completely. It's incredibly difficult to figure out what actually happened because Almost everyone involved seems to have provided unreliable or conflicting information at some point.
You have the initial blind date story, which seems unlikely now.
Right, then you have the strong possibility she left because of the fight with her father, maybe using the date as a cover story just to get away.
But then what happened to her? Did she just vanish on her own? Or did something happen involving maybe Kyle Ferguson, the guy making threats? Or the ex-boyfriend?
Or Carter Mayer and Aubrey Schultz, the last people known to be with her who weren't fully investigated, according to some.
And sometimes, unfortunately, as the private investigator suggested, when the missing person is a legal adult and there's a known argument, police might just, write it off prematurely, assume they left willingly.
Which is tragic if something else actually happened.
Absolutely. And the lack of any sustained reporting or updates after those first few weeks makes it almost impossible now to go back and cross-check facts to find any real clarity. The trail just goes cold so quickly when the initial information is this fragmented and unreliable. It's like trying to build something on shifting sand.
So, Donna K. Cloud is still missing, 8 years later. Her case is just this stark reminder of how incredibly challenging it is to find answers when you're dealing with conflicting accounts, potential half-truths, deleted digital evidence. It's a labyrinth.
Yeah, it really is. And this deep dive shows that sometimes being well-informed isn't about knowing exactly what happened. It's about understanding what didn't happen, what could have happened, and recognizing how the absence of reliable information creates its own kind of story, its own void.
It makes you really question how we find truth in these situations.
Especially now. We live so much online, but that digital footprint can be altered, deleted, misinterpreted.
It becomes part of the mystery itself, rather than the solution. So it leaves you thinking, in this digital age, how do we establish a definitive truth in missing persons cases when the evidence itself is so fragile and potentially manipulated?
That's the troubling question, isn't it?
It really is. For you, the listener, if you happen to have any information at all about Donna K. Cloud or her whereabouts, please contact the relevant authorities. Even the smallest detail could matter, even after all this time. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.